Hi there, this is Shrimproll from the guild Asylum on the realm of zul'jin Horde side. I also go by the name of Valdesta on my blog wowgirl.com. In this video I'm going to show you our guild's first kill of Anub'arak on 25-man normal mode, with some tips and tricks that we discovered for making the kill. Anub'arak on 25-man normal mode is a fight that requires attention and coordination, but not to the degree that a fight like Yogg-Saron on 25-man heroic did, when we were first taking him down in Ulduar. The most important things to know as a healer are: stand on the permafrost, stay away from the spiky things, and do your best to stay away from the adds that come in, and heal. Of course, the job of the tanks and the DPS is a little bit more involved than what I've talked about for healing. And that's the main reason we didn't one-shot Anub'arak. It took us 4 times, I believe. In the first attempt, we lost too many DPS to the spikes early on. In the second attempt, we were overwhelmed with adds. In the third attempt, we did fine with adds, but then hit the enrage timer. It turns out that the fourth attempt was the magic one for us, with a balance of managing the adds, managing the spikes, and managing the boss as well. Alright, so let's talk a little bit of raid strategy here. The first thing I'm going to cover is raid positioning. The basics of raid positioning in this fight are as follows. When Anub'arak is up, the only people who have to be on the permafrost are the add tanks, tanking the Nerubian burrowers. This is to prevent them from burrowing under and self-healing. The rest of the raid can be standing wherever they want. The melee and the rest of the raid should not be standing in front of Anub'arak because of his frontal cleave. When Anub'arak burrows underground, everybody should get onto a spot on the permafrost. If you're the person who's being targeted by spikes, then you should be moving to a different part of the permafrost than everybody else is on. Get away from the rest of the raid. In this fight we actually have 3 tanks. The main tank on Anub'arak himself, and then 2 off-tanks on the Nerubian burrowers. The 2 off-tanks tanking the burrowers are getting armor debuff stacks on them regularly throughout the fight, and as a result we found that if our tanks were required to tank 2 Nerubian burrowers, they couldn't make it and they died. So it was very important for us to balance the DPS on Anub'arak and then switching the DPS over to the burrowers to be able to get the burrowers down quick enough before the next one spawned, so the off-tanks would survive, which would allow the main tank to survive, which would allow the rest of the raid to survive. Initially we were under the assumption that you could prevent Anub'arak himself from burrowing under if you had him on the permafrost correctly, but it turns out it's only the burrowers that you can prevent from going under. Anub'arak will go under approximately every 90 seconds whether you like it or not. When Anub'arak is under, all DPS should be focusing on getting the extra adds down and, of course, avoiding the spikes. The fight alternates between Phase 1 with Anub'arak up and Phase 2 with Anub'arak under, back and forth, until Anub'arak reaches 30% health. So you should be watching to make sure that your adds are down before Anub'arak reaches 30% health, because at that point he stops burrowing and starts casting Leeching Swarm, which leeches life from every single raid member, and then heals Anub'arak with it, depending on how much health they have and how much healing they're receiving. In this phase, it's very important for the healers to focus their heals mainly on the tanks, and the focus for the rest of the raid is to keep them alive, but barely. On normal mode, they recommend 5k health. On heroic mode, they recommend 9k health. Anything much higher, and you're prolonging your own fight unnecessarily. And there's the Crusaders Coliseum Anub'arak fight in a nutshell. Use the permafrost to protect you. Stay away from your raid mates when you're getting chased by the spikes. Tank the Nerubian brewers on the permafrost. Don't stand in front of Anub'arak for him to do his frontal cleave on you. Get the DPS working on the adds, as well as Anub'arak while Anub'arak is up. And if your team can live through 1 or 2 burrows, you should be able to win. And hey, if this raid looked fun to you, don't forget that Asylum is always recruiting new raiders. So if you got a solid amount of experience with the raid content that Wrath of the Lich King has to offer, and you're looking for a great home, consider checking us out. And also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube video channel so you'll be notified when future raid videos are released. This is Valdesta from WowGirl.com, signing off.